The car door opened to the flash of cameras and the sting of heat rolling off Lagos traffic. Malik Carter, the man the business papers called the king of fintech, stepped out in a navy suit cut like a quiet promise. He was here to cut a ribbon for his foundation's new soup kitchen in Abilene. Another headline, another speech about giving back. He did not expect the smell of sour fruit and diesel, or the sound that followed, a sound like a small animal crying. He turned. Behind the event canopy where the caterers dumped leftovers and plastic water bags, 3 figures crouched beside a torn black sack. A woman with silver threaded through her braids tore a bruised mango with her bare hands. 2 girls, one tall and thin with careful eyes, the other round-cheeked and hungry, hovered close, waiting for a piece that hadn't touched the dirt. The woman's wrapper was tied high, her palm slippers cracked. She moved with the tenderness of someone serving a feast. She looked up when the shadows shifted. Her eyes met Malik's and the world fell silent. "Ma," he said, the word breaking out of him before he could swallow it. "Mama?" The woman's hands trembled. The mango slid, bursting in the dust. "Malik," she whispered. He hadn't heard his name like that, soft, village soft, since he was a boy running between plantain stalks. "Naam." The older girl froze, a fragment of bread in her fingers. Up close, Malik could see her face, the high cheekbones that echoed his, the left eyebrow with the same small notch from a childhood fall he'd had. The younger girl lifted her head, eyes bright like river stones, and the tiny locket at her throat flashed in the sun. His grandmother's locket, the one he'd thought stolen years ago. Cameras clicked. A reporter noticed the way Malik's shoulders collapsed. Phones rose like a new forest. The foundation banner behind him, "T.O. Feed with Dignity," flapped in the harmattan breeze. Malik moved first. He shrugged off his suit jacket and wrapped it around his mother's shoulders. She was lighter than he remembered, a bird-boned lightness that spoke of days not eaten. "What is this?" he asked, but the words sounded foolish. He knew what this was. Hunger looked the same in every country, in every neighborhood. It bent the spine and sharpened the eyes. "Mama, get up. Please." She stood, one hand pressed to her chest as if to hold something in place there. "I told them to keep to the side," she said, her voice low, weary. "No one was looking. These children." "Children?" His voice cracked. He looked at the tall girl, then the little one with the locket. Their eyes did not leave his face. "Zuri," the older girl said, steady but tight. "This is Zuri." She touched her own chest. "And this is Nia." She pulled the younger girl forward. Nia made a round O with her mouth. "He looks like the picture," she blurted. "What picture?" Malik asked, and his heart fell through him, down into the red sand and the alleys and all the places he had tried to forget. "The one Grandma keeps," Nia said, as if it were nothing, as if the world had not just cracked open at their feet. Security shifted. An aide tugged Malik's sleeve and murmured, "Sir, if we can move inside for the speech." "Cancel it," Malik said without looking. "Now." He took Zuri's hand. Her palm was dry, warm, cautious. "How long have you?" "Long enough," Zuri said, lifting her chin with the kind of control that only comes from too many hard days. "We weren't always here." Mama Adiz, who used to lift him with one arm and carry a sack of yams with the other, reached up and touched his face like a blessing. "I didn't want you to see me like this." "What happened?" he whispered. The story did not come all at once. It came in a slow, shaking river while a driver fetched water and a volunteer brought a plate of food too hot for the girls to hold. It came while Malik shepherded them behind the tent and sat them on a plastic chair, while someone in a bright kaftan tried to usher away the curious and the cameras kept stealing what they could. An old woman selling groundnuts watched with the still face of someone who has seen many lives turn in a single afternoon. 3 years ago, a fire took the apartment in Maryland where Malik's daughters lived with their mother. The smoke curled like black hands. He was in Dubai, then Johannesburg, then everywhere but home because the next deal, the next launch, the next million felt like a rope he could climb back to the boy who had promised his mother he would build a house so tall it touched the clouds. He returned to ash and rumors and a police report that said the girls were missing, presumed gone. Grief closed over him like ocean water. He poured money into searches. He built a wing at a children's hospital in their names. The world called him brave in loss. The interviews showed a man who never cried on camera. He learned to sleep in 2-hour slices and keep his grief in a box. But the report, Mama said, had a shadow behind it. "We were visiting," Mama continued, twisting her hands into each other as if to keep them from flying. "I came to help their mother while you were traveling. That night, a man with a cap pulled low knocked at the door. He said you sent him. He said you were in danger, that he must keep the girls safe. The fire came later when we were already gone. Malik's stomach turned to ice. A man I sent? I didn't, Mama, I didn't send. I know, she said quickly, as if the words were a hot pan she wanted him to drop. I learned later. He took us because someone wanted to punish you. He said we would be a message if you did not do as they said. When he realized the police were searching, he hit us. He kept moving us. Lagos, Port Harcourt, back to Lagos. Her voice thinned. When he stopped sending money, we found our way here. Zuri watched him as if he were a stranger who might still become a father. Nia ate in tiny bites as if food might run away. Malik felt the building run a small crack through him. Somewhere beyond the tent, the ribbon fluttered and a microphone squealed. A drone buzzed overhead, greedy for the picture of a billionaire kneeling in the dust. Why didn't you call me? He asked. It came out harsher than he meant. He softened it with a look. Mama, why? She blinked and tears stood finally in her eyes, stubborn but bright. Because the last call I tried, the line said it was recorded. Because the man had a photo of you. Because I did not know who was on your side. I thought if I can keep them close and alive, one day you will find us like every story I ever told you. The day came. Malik swallowed. His throat hurt. He looked at Zuri again. Do you remember me? Zuri's mouth pressed tight. I remember your voice, she said. On my birthday you sang on the phone even though you were in an airport and it sounded like the wind. I remember a box of shoes that didn't fit because I grew faster than your schedule. I remember the night everything smelled like burning and Grandma said, "Run, my child." I remember Nia coughing until morning and a man with a cap saying, "Shoo, shoot, Daddy is busy." Nia? Malik said softly. Nia lifted the locket. Grandma says this belongs to your mother's mother, she announced as if delivering a prize. She says it keeps the names. I open it when I forget. What do you see? A lady in a blue head tie, Nia said. And a baby with a curl in the middle of his head. Malik's hand went of its own will to the tiny indent at his hairline, a place where a childhood cowlick refused to behave. Something inside him shifted like a lock hearing the right key. He stood. The air around them fizzed with attention. He called to his driver. Take them to the car, he said. Now. We're going home. Home, for Malik, had been an apartment that looked over the Atlantic, where the glass made the sea feel close even when he worked all night. But there was another home too, the one Mama kept alive with stories. Rain on zinc roofs, yam festivals, the taste of new palm oil, the hush of elders when a proverb was placed in the middle of a room like a clay pot. He decided in that instant that he would build something that did not blow over when a man with a cap knocked on a door. As they moved, a small boy darted forward from the crowd with a phone set to record. Sir, he said breathlessly, is it true? Is it true those are your children? Malik looked at the boy, no older than 12, skinny, smart-eyed, probably hustling data bundles after school, and felt a sudden urge to kneel and say, protect the story. But the world does not work like that. The world chews the story and spits it out in pieces. They're my family, he said. The word felt like a pledge. That's all you need today. They reached the car. Mama hesitated, glancing back at the soup line already snaking along the street. Come, Malik said, holding the door. Please. She got in. Zuri slid next to her, hands still around Nia's fingers like a chain that could not be broken. Before he climbed in, Malik turned to his head of security, a compact man named Emeka who knew how to smile with his eyes. Lock down the building, Malik said. Pull every camera feed from today. Find me every face that didn't clap when the ribbon went up. And Emeka, call Whale in DC, tell him to dig into the fire file again. His voice hardened. We missed something. As the car rolled into traffic, Mama watched Lagos slide by, women balancing tomatoes like crowns, boys hawking cold drinks, the city breathing in and out. Nia pressed her nose to the glass. Zuri took a breath and risked another look at Malik. He felt it and turned, and for a second the two of them were no longer billionaire and stray, but father and daughter learning each other's features like a language. Mama cleared her throat. There is something I did not tell you yet, she said, the words cautious, like someone creeping across a sleeping floor. The man with the cap, he said a name. The one who sent him. Malik kept his eyes on the road ahead though the driver was the one steering. Whose name? Mama swallowed. The locket flashed again. Outside, a bus painted with a smiling politician blared music that made the windows tremble. Mama's voice dropped to a whisper that still seemed to fill the car. He said your brother? The driver braked too hard. Horns erupted. A motorcycle skidded past like a blue dragonfly. I don't have a brother, Malik said, his voice flat with a certainty that came from a life built on facts and signatures and stock tickers. Mama closed her eyes as if stepping into a memory that might burn. "You do," she said. "And he knows your name." Silence held the car like a spell. The city kept moving, Okada horns, hawkers knocking on windows, a preacher shouting through a battery speaker. But inside Malik's SUV, every sound felt far away. Mama Adiz folded her hands in her lap the way she did when she was bracing for storm. Zuri stared straight ahead, jaw set. Nia counted the number of yellow buses they passed, whispering the numbers into the locket as if it were a lucky stone. Malik's penthouse faced the water, glass gleaming like a clean promise. By the time the elevator opened into the living room, his staff had already moved. One housekeeper rushing to warm food, another laying out new clothes, a nurse on contract wheeling in a small medical kit for quick checks. "Nothing fancy," Malik told the nurse softly. "Just make sure they're okay." The nurse nodded with a teenager's shy smile. "Yes, sir." Nia went first, gripping Zuri's hand like a little anchor. When the nurse pressed a stethoscope to Nia's chest, the girl squeezed her eyes shut, then peeked at Malik. "Does it hurt?" she asked. "Only tickles," the nurse said and proved it. Nia giggled, a sound that cut straight through the tight band around Malik's ribs. Zuri stayed quiet when it was her turn, muscles tense as cables. The nurse checked Mama last and frowned at the numbers on the small device. "She's dehydrated," the nurse said softly. "Nothing dangerous. But rest and fluids." "I'll handle it," Malik said. Mama tried to stand. "I can still cook," she began because the old habits of care lived in her bones. "Not today," Malik said gently but firm. "Today you rest. Please, Mama." The words softened her shoulders. She sat back. He called his head of security. Emeka arrived with a tablet under his arm and a phone pinned to his ear. He listened for a few seconds, said, "Send it," and hung up. "We've started scraping every camera near the event," Emeka reported. "There's a man in a navy cap, tall, left shoulder dips a little. He watched the soup line, not the stage. He moved when you moved." "The same man?" Malik asked, voice low. "Hard to be sure. The cap hides the face. License plates. We're on it." The housekeeper brought rice and stew, fragrant with thyme and pepper. Nia blinked at the steam as if she was seeing a birthday cake. Zuri waited until everyone else had food before she picked up a spoon. Old lessons live long. Mama took a few bites, then laid the spoon down and looked at Malik with a force he remembered from childhood. "I was going to tell you when you were older," she said. "But you grew up and moved so fast and the truth kept getting heavier. Your father had a life before Lagos, before us, that I never spoke about." Malik sat. The Atlantic was a sheet of hammered silver beyond the glass. "Tell me." She took a breath that seemed to start in another decade. "Before we came back to Nigeria, I worked 3 jobs in Atlanta. One in a grocery, one cleaning in a small clinic, one at a church kitchen on weekends. Your father, Robert Carter, was there for a conference. He was bright like the sun and reckless the way men can be when everything says yes to them. We married quick. We moved here for his work. Then the money danced like rain. Then the money ran like a thief. He traveled a lot. I stayed. When you were 6, a woman wrote to me. She said she had a son from before he married me. She said the boy should know his father's name. She said she wanted no money. Only truth." Mama paused. Zuri lifted her head. "I showed your father the letter," Mama continued. "He swore it was complicated, not untrue but twisted. He promised to handle it. Months later he was gone. Not dead, gone like the wind. The boy grew up far from you. I kept the letter because a name is a kind of rope. If someone falls, a name can pull them up." "What was the boy's name?" Malik asked. His voice sounded to him like someone else's voice. "Jordan," Mama said. "Jordan Brooks. His mother's name was Aria." Malik looked into the old stories he had told himself about his father and felt the edges go soft. "And you think Jordan?" "I think he carries a wound with your father's handwriting on it," she said quietly. "And men like the one with the cap follow wounds because they pay." Emeka's phone buzzed. He stepped away, listened, came back with his jaw tight. "The man in the cap," he said. "We found him." "Where?" Malik asked. "A small clinic near Ajigunal. He didn't make it. Stab wounds. No ID." Emeka held up the tablet. But this was in his pocket. It was a photo, edges worn white, old enough to smell like dust. 2 baby boys lay on a Kent cloth spread over a couch, both with the same milk-band wrists, the same sleepy mouths. Between them, a woman's hand held them steady, her nails painted a chipped coral. Someone had scribbled on the back in faded blue ink, July 1991. My twins. Mama swallowed hard when she read the words. Twins? Malik whispered. I'm not. You are not a twin, Mama said quickly. Not by me. But someone wanted that photo to tell a story. Or to confuse one, Emeka said. There's more. He swiped. A short video clip played, grainy, black and white, shot through a window on a rainy night. A man in a cap stood under a concrete balcony, speaking to someone whose face the camera had clipped off. The man with the cap lifted a hand to show a roll of money. The other man nodded and pointed toward the street. The clip ended with a gray wash. Where did this come from? Malik asked. Store camera across from the clinic, Emeka said. Timestamp is 2 hours before the man died. Can we see the other man's face? Zuri asked suddenly. Her voice was cool but the knuckles gripping her spoon were white. Not in this clip, Emeka said. Then we ask the store owner for the full file, Malik said, standing. We pay whatever it costs. The nurse finished packing her kit. The girls should sleep, she said. Big days were little bodies. Nia protested, but the protests grew smaller as they walked to the guest room. Zuri tucked her in with the efficiency of someone who had become adult too soon. Malik stood in the doorway. Zuri looked at him with a kind of frankness he both admired and feared. Can we lock the door? She asked. Of course. Malik showed her the bolt. And this. He handed her a small device with a button. If you press this, alarms go off and a team comes running. Zuri turned the device in her hand. You trust your team? I trust the ones who have earned it, he said. Then I will press if I need them, she said, and the words carried a promise and a warning both. When the girls slept, Mama sank into the couch and closed her eyes. The nurse promised to return in the morning. The house settled into the hush that comes when a home remembers it's supposed to shelter. Malik's phone rang with an international code. He took the call in his study. Whale. On the other end, his friend's voice had the careful tone he used when he did not want to make a bad thing worse. I pulled the Maryland file again, Whale said. Your daughter's case. You asked me to look for the parts that didn't add up. I did. I found a payment string, Whale said. 4 deposits across 18 months to a company called Sundial Freight. Thin paper trail, but under it there's a set of transfers from a private trust. Pause. The trust is in your father's name. It lists 2 beneficiaries, you and a Jordan Brooks. Malik sat slowly. His father's signature scrolled across his mind, confident, slanted, practiced. The trust paid Sundial? Not directly, Whale said. Via shell. But the dates matched the periods when your mother and the girls were being moved. The last payment hit just weeks before the fire. The study seemed to shrink an inch in every direction. So my father's money, his trust, was used to move my daughters and my mother across the country into hiding, and then someone set a fire to cover it. It looks like someone planned things and paid to keep them moving, Whale said. Maybe to keep them safe from someone else. Or to keep leverage against you. And if Jordan is a beneficiary, he could have known the trust mechanics, Malik said. He could have moved the strings. Possibly, Whale said. But Malik, there's something else. A sealed addendum to the trust. I can't open it, but the index says, instructions in the event of reconciliation. Reconciliation with who? With the second son, Whale said. Malik stared at the glass wall until the sea blurred. The second son. Not just a rumor. Not just a letter. A line in a legal document with his father's careful pen behind it. A soft knock. Emeka stepped in, eyes darker than usual. Sir, he said quietly, there's a man downstairs in the lobby who refuses to leave without speaking to you. He says his name is Reverend Elijah Brooks. Emeka glanced at the phone in Malik's hand. He says he's the uncle of a Jordan Brooks. And he brought, Emeka hesitated. What did he bring? Malik asked. A birth certificate, Emeka said. And a necklace that looks exactly like Nia's locket, only older. He says he's here to beg you to stop looking. The line to DC crackled. Whale's voice thinned through the speaker. Malik? You still there? Malik stood, the sea behind him and the city under his feet and a thread from a past he didn't choose pulling tight. Bring the Reverend up, he told Emeka. Emeka nodded and turned. Before he reached the door, the house lights dipped once, twice. A hush fell, then a thin whine from somewhere deep in the building. The security panel on Malik's desk flashed red. Power? Whale asked, his voice small in the long room. Emeka's hand went to his earpiece. His face changed. Not power, he said, moving fast. A trip on the service elevator. Someone just used a master key. They're heading to your floor. Malik looked toward the hallway where his daughters slept, where his mother breathed in the slow, careful rhythm of a body relearning rest. "Who is it?" he demanded. Emeka listened hard, then met Malik's eyes. "The cameras show only a man's back," he said. "But the code attached to that master key is new. It was created this afternoon in your foundation system, with a single initial." "What initial?" Malik asked. "J," Emeka said. "And he's 10 seconds away from your door." The elevator pinged softly, a sound too ordinary for the tension that suddenly filled the air. Emeka's hand was already on his holster, his stance low and tight. Malik's pulse thundered in his ears as the light above the door blinked from red to green. The door slid open. A man stepped out slowly, his face half lit by the dim emergency light. He was tall, about Malik's height, but leaner, his skin the same deep brown tone, his jawline cut sharp as if carved by memory. His eyes were steady, searching, carrying something old and private. He wore a dark shirt with the sleeves rolled, his hands raised slightly in peace. Around his neck hung a simple chain, gold faded with years, but on it was something that stopped Malik cold. The other locket. "Jordan Brooks," the man said calmly, his voice carrying both confidence and sorrow. "Or should I say, Jordan Carter?" For a long moment nobody moved. Emeka's gun hovered near his side, trembling just enough to show the strain. "Sir," he said carefully to Malik, "give the word." Malik didn't speak. He was too busy staring into a face that mirrored his own. The same nose, the same cleft at the chin, even the same way the right brow lifted slightly higher than the left. It was like looking into a mirror warped by time and anger. Jordan took another slow step forward. "You don't have to point that at me," he said to Emeka. "I didn't come here to fight. I came to finish what our father started." "Our father?" Malik said, voice low but hard. "You don't get to use that word." Jordan tilted his head, studying him. "Why not?" "He was my father before he was yours." Mama Adi's voice sliced through the thick silence. She had come from the hallway, her wrapper gathered tight around her chest. "Jordan," she whispered. "You grew." He turned to her, something softer flickering across his face. "Mama Adi's," he said gently, "I never wanted you to see me like this. You were kind when you didn't have to be." "Then why?" she asked, tears brimming. "Why did you send that man? Why take these children into danger?" "I didn't take them," Jordan said sharply. "I saved them." "Do you have any idea what would have happened if I hadn't intervened?" Malik stepped closer. "You call that saving them? They were starving on the streets." Jordan's eyes flashed. "Because you ignored the warnings. You thought your money could buy safety, but you were wrong. The people your father owed, the ones who funded his early businesses, they were coming for you. The trust wasn't a gift, it was blood money." Malik froze. "What are you talking about?" Jordan took the locket from around his neck, holding it up. Inside was a photo. Robert Carter, younger, smiling, holding a baby in each arm. "This is the truth," Jordan said. "We were both part of his debt." Mama's hand shook. "Debt?" Jordan nodded. "Our father didn't just take investors. He borrowed from a group called the Iron Palm, a network of old political tycoons who hide behind charity and import companies. When he couldn't pay, they made a deal. His first son would work for them someday. When he had another family, when you came along, Malik, they decided your blood was good collateral too." Malik's eyes darkened. "That's absurd." Jordan smirked slightly. "Is it? How many times did mysterious money appear just when your company was about to sink? How did you survive the 2012 crash when every competitor folded? Those same men, they're still alive. They moved their business from oil to tech, from power to people. They funded your rise through the shadows of your father's debt." Emeka spoke for the first time, still tense. "And the kidnappings?" Jordan sighed, rubbing his temples. "I didn't mean for it to go that far. I only told them to pressure Malik, to make him slow down before he signed that new offshore deal. But the men I hired wanted more. They wanted proof of control. They wanted him broken. I tried to pull them back, but by then the fire had started." Malik lunged forward, grabbing Jordan by the collar. "You tried?" he shouted. "You destroyed everything I had. My daughters. My family." Jordan didn't resist. He just stared into Malik's face with a bitter calm. "And our father destroyed mine." The words hit like a slap. Malik's grip loosened. Jordan straightened his shirt, his expression weary. "You had his name. His protection. His love. I had the truth. He abandoned me and my mother when he moved here with yours. I grew up watching your face on magazine covers, hearing about your perfect life while we could barely pay rent. When the Iron Palm came knocking after he died, they told me I was his firstborn debt. So yes, I wanted to see if his favorite son could handle a little pain. Malik stared at him in disbelief. You wanted revenge? Jordan's tone cracked for the first time. I wanted a brother. The air went still again. Mama covered her mouth, crying quietly now. Jordan turned to her. You think I don't remember the day you visited us in Atlanta? You brought food. You said you were sorry for what Robert did. That was the last kind thing anyone from your family ever did for me. Malik looked between them, his voice breaking. You could have called me. Jordan shook his head. I tried. Do you know how many times I reached out through your foundation? Through your company? I was shut down every time. I even sent the photo, those babies on the couch, but your assistant said it was a scam. Malik sank into the chair behind him. The weight of years, the missed messages, the unreturned letters, pressed down like a tombstone. Jordan exhaled slowly. When I heard your daughters were alive, I protected them from the men who wanted leverage over you. But I couldn't let you know, not yet. If they knew I was helping, they'd kill me and come for them anyway. I thought I could end it quietly. Emika's radio crackled suddenly, sharp and loud. Security to control. Sir, we have movement at the gate. 2 SUVs, tinted, no plates. They just stopped outside the compound. Jordan's head snapped up. It's them, he said. They found us. Who? Malik demanded. The Iron Palm, Jordan said grimly. They want both of us now, the heirs. Before anyone could move, gunfire echoed from the courtyard, short, clipped bursts. Emika shouted orders into his mic, motioning for everyone to get down. Glass trembled. Mama screamed, clutching her chest. Zuri ran out of the hallway, pulling Nia behind her. Malik dashed forward, shielding his daughters as bullets cracked against the reinforced windows. Get down, he yelled. Jordan reached into his jacket and pulled out a small flash drive, throwing it to Malik. Everything's in there, the trust documents, the names, the accounts they used to move money. It's the only proof we have. What about you? Malik shouted. Jordan's eyes softened. I'll hold them off. You protect them this time. He moved toward the elevator, motioning to Emika. Activate lockdown. Keep the family safe. If I don't make it back, burn that drive before they find it. The elevator doors closed behind him. Malik stood frozen for a heartbeat, the sound of gunfire fading into the distance below. The city lights outside flickered, distorted by smoke and chaos. Mama clutched Zuri's hand, whispering prayers under her breath. Nia clung to Malik's leg, trembling. Emika returned, face pale. Sir, he said quietly, the camera feed's gone dark. The SUVs are gone too. Malik frowned. Gone? Already? Emika nodded. Yes, sir. They vanished. Where's Jordan? Malik asked, his voice barely a whisper. Emika hesitated. Sir? The elevator stopped between floors. When we rebooted it, he swallowed. He wasn't there. Malik's blood went cold. What do you mean he wasn't there? The car was empty, sir. No sign of forced exit. Just gone. Outside, the sirens wailed closer. Inside, Malik turned the flash drive over in his palm, the weight of secrets heavy as iron. And somewhere in the dark of Lagos, a voice whispered through the static of a nearby radio transmission, low and mocking. The debt is not paid yet, Carter. Blood still owes blood. Comment your thoughts below and tell us where you're watching from. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this story if it kept you on edge, because the next chapter reveals the shocking truth behind the Iron Palm. The night swallowed Lagos whole. Rain began to fall, light at first, then furious, drumming against the glass walls of Malik's penthouse like angry fingers. Inside, every shadow felt alive, every sound too sharp. The house had gone into partial lockdown. Shutters rolled down automatically, steel panels sealed the windows, and the hum of the backup generator pulsed through the floor like a slow heartbeat. Malik stood at the window, still holding the flash drive Jordan had thrown to him before vanishing. His reflection stared back, eyes haunted, jaw tense. For the first time in years he didn't look like a billionaire. He looked like a man cornered by ghosts. Behind him, Zuri sat on the couch with Nia curled against her side. Mama Adiz held a rosary, whispering prayers through trembling lips. Emika stood near the door, weapon drawn, scanning every flicker of movement. Sir, Emika said softly, I have the team sweeping all floors. No trace of Jordan. But we found a phone dropped in the service hall, unlocked. He handed it over. Malik took it, and the first thing he saw was a message on the screen timestamped just minutes before the gunfire. From unknown, meet at the docks before midnight. Bring the evidence or they'll come for the rest. Malik's jaw clenched. They're not done. Emeka nodded grimly. No sir. They want that drive. Mama looked up, worry clouding her face. Malik, what if he's been taken? Jordan may still be alive. He hesitated. There was something about the way Jordan had looked back before the elevator closed, a kind of promise hidden inside fear. If they have him, we can't wait for morning. Zuri stood abruptly. Then we go after him. Everyone turned. The calmness in her voice startled them. Malik frowned. You're not going anywhere. She crossed her arms. You can't protect us if they find this place again. If he's the only one who knows what they want, you need him alive. And you'll need someone who can see what you can't. Emeka glanced at her, then at Malik. She's brave, sir. But she's also right. Nia tugged her sister's sleeve. Don't go, she whispered. Zuri bent and kissed her forehead. I won't be gone long. Mama rose shakily. If you're going, she said, then go with prayer. She touched Malik's chest with trembling fingers. Your father used to believe some storms end by meeting them, not hiding from them. Just, don't let vengeance blind you. Malik nodded, kissed her hand and turned to Emeka. Prep the car. Within minutes, they were driving through the wet streets of Lagos, headlights slicing through the dark, wipers struggling against the storm. The city was quieter than usual. Most people were home, sheltered from the downpour. Malik's phone buzzed with a location ping. It was Jordan's phone, still transmitting. The coordinates pointed toward Apapa Wharf. Emeka cursed under his breath. Bad place for a meeting. Too many corners, too many guns. Zuri leaned forward between the seats. If they're expecting him, they'll recognize the car. Malik nodded. Then we changed the plan. He pulled into a narrow alley behind a row of containers. We go on foot from here. The docks smelled of salt and rust and secrets. Cargo cranes loomed overhead like sleeping giants. Between the stacked containers, dim lights flickered where the rain hadn't drowned the power completely. They moved carefully, Malik and Emeka ahead, Zuri behind them in a black hoodie. Every splash of water sounded too loud. Then they heard it, muffled voices coming from a warehouse near the pier. Malik motioned for silence and crept closer. Through the gap in a broken window, he saw 3 men, hard faces, black jackets, guns resting casually on their shoulders. One of them held a tablet showing a paused video feed of Malik's home. Another man was tied to a chair in the center, blood dripping from his lip. Jordan. Malik's stomach twisted. One of the men slapped Jordan's face. Where is it? He snarled. Jordan spat blood, laughing weakly. You'll never get it. The leader leaned forward. Then we'll burn what's left of your brother instead. Malik's eyes went cold. Not tonight, he whispered. He signaled Emeka. 2 swift shots cracked through the noise, precise and sharp. One guard down, another scrambling for cover. Chaos exploded inside the warehouse. Malik stormed in through the side door, grabbed a rusted pipe from the ground, and swung it with a fury born of months of loss. It struck the leader's arm, sending his gun skidding. Emeka covered him, taking down the 3rd man before he could reload. When it was done, only the sound of the rain remained. Jordan lifted his head weakly, eyes half open. You came. Malik knelt and untied him. I don't leave family behind. Jordan gave a small, painful smile. You sound like him, our father. But before Malik could answer, headlights cut through the far end of the dock. Another convoy, black SUVs at least 4, rolled in fast. Back up, Emeka muttered. We need to move. They sprinted for cover between containers, Malik pulling Jordan with one arm, Zuri close behind. The gunfire started again, bullets whining against steel. Sparks flew. Jordan stumbled, clutching his side. Go, he gasped. Leave me. Malik refused. Not again. He dragged Jordan into a small maintenance shed by the water. Emeka locked the door, pressing his ear against it. They're fanning out, he whispered. We've got maybe 2 minutes. Zuri crouched beside Jordan. You're bleeding. It's just a graze, he said through clenched teeth. Then he turned to Malik, urgency burning in his eyes. Listen. The Iron Palm isn't just business. They've bought people everywhere, politicians, banks, security agencies. The trust fund wasn't money, it was control. And the flash drive you have? It's their black ledger. Every secret deal, every bribe. If you release it, half of Lagos will fall. Malik stared at him. Then why give it to me? Jordan smiled faintly. Because maybe you'll do what I couldn't, clean our father's name, or destroy it completely. Footsteps pounded outside. A voice shouted, "Check the sheds." Zuri's hand closed around a metal wrench. "They're coming." Malik turned to Emeka. "Take them through the back hatch to the pier." "There's a boat there?" "Old speedboat," Emeka said. "Barely runs." "It'll run tonight." Malik opened the hatch and cold sea air rushed in. "Go." They climbed down into the rain-soaked dock. Gunfire echoed behind them as shadows appeared at the warehouse door. Malik started the boat's engine. It coughed, sputtered, then roared to life. Emeka untied the ropes and they pushed off into the black water. Bullets splashed around them like angry raindrops. Nia's locket, still around Malik's neck for safety, caught a brief flash of lightning. Jordan groaned, pressing his wound. Zuri's voice rose above the storm. "Where do we go now?" Malik's eyes stayed fixed ahead. "Somewhere they won't expect." Behind them, the docks burned, a warehouse exploding into orange flame, lighting the sea like dawn. Malik didn't look back. As they disappeared into the dark horizon, Jordan's voice broke the silence again. "There's something else I never told you." Malik glanced over. "Now's not the time." "It has to be," Jordan said weakly. The Iron Palm's leader, the one who ordered the fire, it wasn't just about the money. He coughed, his voice fading. He wanted the children, because of what's written in the trust. Malik's grip tightened on the wheel. "What do you mean?" Jordan's eyes fluttered open one last time, his breath shallow. "One of them is the rightful heir. To everything. Not you, not me." His head slumped forward. "Jordan." Malik shouted, shaking him, but Jordan didn't move. Emeka checked his pulse, shaking his head once. Lightning cracked across the water. Malik's heart felt like it was tearing itself apart. Zuri turned toward him, eyes wide. What did he mean, the rightful heir? Malik stared into the storm. "I don't know. But he would find out. Even if it meant destroying the Carter name forever." The speedboat surged into the night, leaving behind a city set on fire by its own secrets. The sea carried them through the night, black waves rising and falling under the angry hum of the storm. The boat's small motor rattled like an old heart, fighting against the weight of wind and rain. Malik sat at the helm, his face lit only by flashes of lightning. Behind him, Zuri held Nia close, trying to shield her from the cold spray. Emeka kept watch, pistol drawn, eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of pursuit. Jordan's body lay covered at the far end of the boat beneath a soaked tarpaulin. The sight twisted something deep in Malik's chest. His brother, the stranger who had once been his enemy, was now a lifeless body on a leaking boat, carrying secrets that could break nations. The rain began to ease as dawn crept over the water. A dim orange glow spread along the horizon. The sea softened, and the chaos of the night slowly gave way to silence. Emeka checked the compass. "We're off the main channel, sir. If we head west another 10 kilometers we can reach Tarqua Bay. Quiet spot. No one will find us there." Malik nodded, jaw tight. "Do it." Zuri wrapped a blanket around Nia, who had finally fallen asleep. "She's exhausted," she murmured. "She hasn't stopped shaking since the docks." Malik looked at her, guilt clouding his eyes. "None of you should have gone through this." Zuri's voice trembled slightly but held strength. "We've been through worse. At least this time, we're not hiding in the dark alone." He turned his face toward the sea. The water reflected flashes of memory, his father's laughter, his mother's tears, Jordan's final words. One of them is the rightful heir. He couldn't shake it. Not because of the money, not even the inheritance, but because it meant someone had lied. Again. When they reached Tarqua Bay, the beach was nearly empty. Fishermen were just setting out in their small canoes, singing softly in Yoruba as they pushed through the surf. Malik steered the boat close to the shore, and Emeka jumped out first, pulling it onto the sand. They moved quickly, carrying what little they had. The place was remote, surrounded by palms and the skeletons of half-built beach houses, projects abandoned years ago. It would serve as cover for now. Mama Adiz met them hours later, brought in by one of Emeka's men through a back route from the mainland. When she saw Jordan's body, she fell to her knees, her sobs swallowed by the roar of the waves. Malik knelt beside her, his voice low. "He died saving us, Mama. Whatever mistakes he made, he tried to fix them." She placed her trembling hand on Jordan's covered chest. "I told you both the truth would chase us," she whispered. "But I never thought it would catch us this way." They buried him before sunset, beneath a palm tree overlooking the sea. Zuri picked wildflowers to place over the grave. Malik said nothing, only pressed his hand against the damp sand, promising silently that his brother's death would not be in vain. When the sun dipped low, Emeka set up a small generator inside one of the unfinished houses. Malik connected his laptop and inserted the flash drive Jordan had left him. The screen blinked, then filled with encrypted folders labeled with dates and numbers stretching back decades. Zuri stood behind him. "Can you open them?" "I'll try," Malik said. His fingers flew over the keys. One file opened, a ledger filled with names, account numbers, offshore banks, and transactions. Many of the names were powerful people, politicians, CEOs, even law enforcement officers. And at the very top, under trust beneficiaries, two names stood out: Malik Carter, Jordan Brooks. But there was a third name underneath, one that hadn't been there before: Zuri Carter. Zuri blinked. "That's my name," she said softly. Malik's heart stopped for a moment. No, that's impossible." Mama turned slowly, her face pale. "The trust recognizes her?" Emeka leaned forward. "Sir, that means she's legally listed as heir to the Carter estate. Everything, your companies, your holdings, it all transfers to her if something happens to you." Malik stared at the screen, disbelief giving way to something darker. "But how? She was just a child when it was created." Zuri frowned. "Why would my name be there?" Malik scrolled further down the document, and froze when he saw the note attached at the bottom. "In the event of my death, the rightful successor to the Carter inheritance and the control of the Iron Palm assets shall pass to the one born under the first bloodline of Adiz. Protect her until the debt is fulfilled." The signature below was unmistakable: Robert Carter. Mama staggered back, clutching her wrapper. Dear God, he knew. He knew she was the one. Malik turned sharply. "The one what, Mama?" Her voice shook. "Your father, before he left us, he came back once. He said there would come a child, born of our line, whose name would carry the debt away. I thought it was nonsense, an old curse from his family in the village. But he wrote it down. He said, Adiz's blood will balance what mine could not." Zuri's eyes widened. "What does that mean?" "It means," Emeka said grimly, "that the Iron Palm may not be after Malik anymore. They're after you." The realization hit like thunder. Malik slammed the laptop shut. "We're leaving Lagos tonight. Before anyone realizes she's alive." But Emeka hesitated. "Sir, that may not be enough. The kind of people tied to this ledger, they don't let witnesses walk away. Not when a name like hers can unravel everything." Zuri looked from one adult to another, her fear hidden beneath a brave front. "So what do we do?" Malik ran a hand over his face. "We go public. We tell the truth before they can twist it." Mama gasped. "Malik, if you expose them, they'll kill us all." "Maybe," he said quietly. "But if we stay silent, they'll own us forever." Outside, the wind picked up again. The palm leaves swayed violently as if warning them. Emeka's radio crackled, static first, then a voice, smooth and deep. "Mr. Carter," it said, "you've been busy." Everyone froze. The voice continued, calm and almost amused. "We thought you might try to run, but you've always been predictable. The trust is more than money, it's a prophecy written by your father's hand. And now, you've led us straight to what we've been waiting for." Malik's heart pounded. "Who is this?" A soft laugh echoed through the radio. "Names don't matter. Blood does. You can't protect her forever." The line went dead. Zuri's voice was small but steady. "They're coming, aren't they?" Emeka checked the perimeter cameras. Several black dots moved through the trees, men, armed and advancing fast. "They found us." Malik turned to his family, eyes burning with determination. "Then we fight." He handed Zuri the small gold locket that once belonged to Nia. "If anything happens to me, take your sister and run to the old church by the shoreline. There's a boat hidden there. Wait until sunrise." Zuri's lips trembled. "What about you?" Malik's gaze hardened. "I'll buy you time." The sound of gunfire echoed again, closer this time. Windows shattered. The house trembled. Mama screamed. Nia began to cry. Emeka shouted, "Down. Everyone down," as bullets tore through the wooden walls. And amid the chaos, the roar of wind, gunfire, and the crack of breaking glass, Malik's laptop flickered back to life on its own. The screen flashed a single encrypted message before shutting down completely. "Trust protocol initiated. Bloodline verified." Malik stared at it in horror. "No," he whispered. The message repeated once more before the screen went black. "Activation in 24 hours. He turned to Mama, voice hoarse. "What did he start, Mama? What did Father create?" She met his gaze, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Something that will bury us all if you don't stop it." Then the door burst open and the night exploded into war. Gunfire cracked through the night like fireworks from hell. The unfinished beach house shuddered under the assault, glass shattering, wood splintering, bullets punching through the walls. Malik ducked behind the overturned table, pulling Nia and Mama close while Emeka fired short bursts toward the dark shapes moving outside. "Emeka, the back!" Malik shouted. "Take them out through the side path." Emeka nodded, then turned to Zuri. "Stay low. When I say run, you run. Don't stop, don't look back." The wind howled through the broken windows. Sand whipped across the floor. The attackers, dressed in black tactical gear, were advancing fast, their boots crunching on the gravel. Malik leaned out, fired 2 quick shots and dropped another man. The others fell back for cover. For a brief second, the world went quiet except for the ragged sound of everyone breathing. Then came the hiss of an explosion. The side wall blew apart in a spray of dust and debris. The force threw Malik backward, slamming him into a beam. Pain flared through his ribs. Mama screamed. Zuri shielded Nia, her heart hammering so hard she could barely breathe. Emeka grabbed Zuri's arm. "Move now." They bolted through the broken back door, stumbling into the darkness beyond the house. The air was thick with gun smoke and sea salt. Lightning split the sky, showing fleeting images. The burning house, shadows chasing them through the palm trees, the glint of rifles. Malik staggered after them, coughing, clutching the small laptop bag to his chest. Inside it, the flash drive pulsed faintly, its built-in light blinking every few seconds. Zuri saw it as they ran. "Dad. It's flashing." "It's not just a drive," Malik shouted back. "It's a trigger." The realization froze him mid-step. His father's warning, "Protect her until the debt is fulfilled." The activation message. It wasn't a metaphor. They reached the shoreline just as the rain began again, heavy and cold. The old church stood on the edge of the water, a crumbling ruin, its bell tower leaning, its windows long shattered. Emeka led them inside and barricaded the door with wooden pews. "We can't stay long," he said, wiping blood from his temple. "They'll find us." Zuri turned to Malik, eyes fierce. What did he mean by activation? What happens in 24 hours? Malik dropped to his knees, pulling the laptop from the bag. "I don't know. But if my father built it, it's something huge, maybe a transfer, maybe a release. The Carter Trust isn't just an inheritance. It's a digital vault connected to the world's financial grid. If it activates, it could release every hidden fund, every slush account, every illegal transaction from the Iron Palms network into public view." Mama gasped. "That would destroy them." "And us too," Malik said grimly. "Every Carter-linked account, every partner company, it'll all be frozen or seized. It'll take down half of Lagos elite. They won't let that happen." Nia stirred, frightened by the shouting. Zuri held her close, whispering softly until she drifted back to sleep. Emeka reloaded his gun. "So what's the plan?" Malik's fingers flew across the keyboard. "We end it before it starts. If I can reach the central server where the trust is hosted, I can rewrite the activation sequence. But I'll need a direct link. That means I need their access hub, the Iron Palms core." "And where's that?" Zuri asked. He looked up, eyes dark. "Victoria Island. Beneath the old Carter Tower." The name fell like a curse. Mama whispered, "That's where your father worked. His first company." Malik nodded. "He built everything there, and apparently left the devil inside the walls." Lightning flashed again, illuminating the fear on everyone's faces. Emeka checked his watch. "They'll regroup. If we go now." Mama grabbed Malik's hand. "Promise me one thing," she said softly. "Don't fight to protect your father's sins. Fight to free your children from them." He squeezed her hand. "I promise." They reached Victoria Island before dawn. The streets were eerily empty, Lagos asleep under heavy rain. Malik's convoy, a small truck Emeka had stolen from a fish depot, rolled past the burnt-out billboards and broken streetlights. Carter Tower rose ahead, tall and ghostly, its glass cracked from years of neglect. Once a symbol of wealth, now a monument to forgotten power. Inside, the lobby smelled of mold and old paper. Malik led them to the basement, past dust-covered elevators and corridors lined with peeling paint. When they reached the old data room, he stopped. Rows of computers blinked softly in the dark. Generators hummed. Someone had kept this place alive. Emeka cursed under his breath. "They're here already?" A voice echoed from the shadows. "Always one step ahead, Malik." They turned. A tall man in a gray suit stepped out, flanked by 2 armed guards. His face was calm, composed, too clean for a criminal. He carried himself like someone who had dined with presidents. "Who are you?" Malik demanded. The man smiled faintly. "Call me Duro. Your father and I built this empire together. I kept it alive after he died. And now you've come to bury it." Zuri's voice trembled with anger. "You burned our home. You killed my uncle." Duro sighed almost sadly. "Jordan was a complication. He wanted to destroy what your father created. But I'm here to preserve it." He nodded toward Malik. "Give me the drive and you can walk away. Take your family, disappear. You'll live rich and safe and no one will touch you again." Malik's voice was cold. "That's what my father believed too. Look where it got him." Duro's smile vanished. "Then you die with your truth." He raised his hand and his men opened fire. Emeka dropped, rolling behind a column, returning fire with precision. Malik shielded Mama and the girls, diving for cover. Sparks flew from the metal servers as bullets ripped through them. Zuri crawled toward the control panel, spotting a power switch labeled override. "Dad," she shouted. "If I flip this, what happens?" Malik's eyes widened. "Don't, wait. Too late." She slammed the switch down. The servers screamed to life. Red lights flared. A computerized voice filled the room. "Trust protocol final stage activated. Access code required." Malik scrambled to the console, typing furiously. "It's asking for a code. My father must have set one." Duro's eyes went wide. "No. You'll destroy everything." "Then help me," Malik hissed. Duro hesitated. "If you do this, you end the Carter legacy." Malik looked back at Zuri, at Mama, at Nia's terrified face. "Then maybe it's time the Carter name died." He hit enter. The servers erupted in light. The hum grew deafening. Data began streaming across the monitors. Accounts draining, encrypted messages dissolving into open files. The Iron Palm's entire empire bleeding into the public web. Duro screamed, lunging forward. Emeka fired once and the man fell. Then the backup generator overloaded. Sparks exploded, flames licking up the walls. Malik grabbed the girls, shouting, "Out! Go!" They ran as the building roared behind them. Glass shattered, the tower groaned, and with one final thunderous crash, the Carter Tower collapsed into itself, sending dust and fire into the morning sky. Hours later, the news spread across the world. Massive data leak exposes corruption network in Nigeria and beyond. Billionaires fell. Politicians resigned. The name Carter Trust became synonymous with justice and ruin. At a small fishing village by the coast, Malik stood barefoot in the sand, staring out at the sea. Beside him, Zuri and Nia played with shells. Mama sat under a palm tree, humming softly. Emeka stood nearby, keeping silent watch. Zuri turned to him. "It's over, isn't it?" Malik smiled faintly. "For them, yes. For us, it's a beginning." She hesitated. "Do you think he'd be proud?" "Grandpa." Malik looked at the horizon, his expression unreadable. "I think he finally rests." The waves rolled in, washing away their footprints. The world might remember Malik Carter as the billionaire who destroyed his own empire, but to those who knew the truth, he was the man who ended a legacy built on blood, and gave his children something better than money. He gave them freedom. And far out at sea, beneath the wreckage of the Carter Tower's digital heart, one faint signal blinked from a forgotten server. Trust backup initialized. Second phase pending. The story was not entirely over. If you were Malik Carter, would you have destroyed your father's empire knowing it would change the world, but erase your family's name forever? Comment below and share your thoughts. Thought Balloon. Where are you watching from? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this powerful story, because sometimes the truth that breaks the world's heart is the one that finally sets it free.